Guds rika välsignelse och shalom till er allihopa. Välkomna till morgonstudion. Och då kör vi igång här då och läser Lukas 21 till att börja med.
Och när ni får höra om krig och uppror så bli inte förskräckta, ty sådant måste först hända. Men det betyder inte att slutet kommer omedelbart. Vidare sade han till dem, folk ska resa sig mot folk och rike mot rike. Det ska bli stora jordbävningar och svält och pest på den ena platsen efter den andra. Fasansfulla ting och stora tecken ska visa sig från himlen. Men innan allt detta händer ska man gripa och förfölja er. Man ska utlämna er åt synagogor och fängelser och ställa er inför kungar och landshövdingar för mitt namns skull. Detta ger er tillfälle att vittna. Bestäm er därför att inte förbereda något försvarstal, ty jag ska själv lägga orden i er mun och ge er vishet som ingen av era fiender ska kunna stå emot eller motsäga. Ni kommer att bli förrådda till och med av föräldrar och bröder, av släktingar och vänner, och en del av er ska man döda. Och ni ska bli hatade av alla för mitt namns skull. Men inte ett hår på ert huvud ska gå förlorat. Genom att stå fasta ska ni vinna era själar. När ni ser Jerusalem omringas av härar, då ska ni veta att staden snart ska bli ödelagd. Då måste de som bor i Judeen fly bort till bergen, och de som bor inne i staden måste lämna den, och de som är ute på landet får inte gå in i staden. Ty detta är vedergällningens tid, då allt som är skrivet ska gå i uppfyllelse. Ve dem som väntar barn eller ammar i de dagarna. Ty landet ska drabbas av en stor nöd och vredesdomen ska komma över detta folk. Det ska falla för svärdsägg och föras bort som fångar till alla hedna folk. Jerusalem kommer att trampas ner av hedningarna tills hedningarnas tider är fullbordade. Tecken ska visa sig i solen, i månen och i stjärnorna, och på jorden ska folken gripas av ångest och stå rådlösa vid havets och bränningarnas dån. Människor ska ge upp andan av skräck i väntan på det som ska komma över världen, ty himlens krafter ska skakas. Då ska man se människosonen komma i ett moln med stor makt och härlighet. Men när detta börjar ske så räta på er och lyft upp era huvuden, ty då närmar sig er förlossning. Han gav dem också en liknelse. Se på fikonträdet och alla andra träd. Så snart ni ser att det knoppas förstår ni av er själva att sommaren redan är nära. När ni ser att detta händer vet ni på samma sätt att Guds rike är nära. Amen, säger jag er. Detta släkte ska inte förgå förrän allt detta sker. Himmel och jord ska förgå, men mina ord ska aldrig förgå.
Där var det ju mycket som stämde in, eller hur? Lukas 21, Matteus 24 och Markus 13 bland annat talar ju om tecknen som ska ske innan Jesus Kristus kommer tillbaka. Och ett av tecknen som vi hörde här, det var ju krig och rykten om krig. Och även sjukdomar som ska bryta ut, och det vet vi hade ju pandemin till exempel. Men nu bryter det ut en massa konstiga saker också här. Nu har det varit mycket stora jordbävningar också runt världen. Men vi ska titta på ett riktigt hot, och det är ju Ryssland, Kina och de här länderna. Låt oss kolla det.
Proceed with an update of all of their defense plans specifically for the protection of the Baltic countries, as all alliance analysts show that sooner or later there will be a confrontation with Russia. Okay, so this is huge, guys. Basically, all NATO analysts are saying that sooner or later there will be a confrontation with Russia. Not if, Okay, it will happen. Okay, and this is coming just days after the chief of Poland's National Security Council said that NATO has just 3 years to prepare the eastern flank of NATO for a showdown with Russia, which is a much more aggressive time frame than what the German experts were saying. They were saying 5 to 10 years. Poland is saying they only have 3 years to prevent Russia from invading the eastern part of NATO, or to actually get ready for a war with NATO on the eastern flank. And I think it's coming, guys. The other day, Putin threatened Latvia, okay? And he specifically said that if Latvia continues their anti-Russian policies, then there's going to be repercussions for that, okay? He didn't say specifically what those repercussions are going to be, but it was very chilling to hear him say that. So it's possible that Russia may attack the Baltics very soon. And, we've been seeing Russia moving a lot of equipment into Kaliningrad the last few months. And Russia has thousands of troops in Belarus. They have probably at least 250,000 troops in Kaliningrad. They have nuclear weapons in Kaliningrad. They have ballistic missiles in Kaliningrad. They have ballistic missiles now with nuclear warheads on them in Belarus as well. They also have nuclear weapons in Belarus that they can launch from fighter jets. So Russia's preparing for something. What that is, I don't know, but they're gearing up for it, okay? They've already trained the Belarus Air Force on how to deliver nuclear weapons. They've already moved like 50,000 Russian troops into Belarus, close to Poland and Lithuania. So they're preparing for something, guys, okay?
Då fortsätter vi med en rapport här ifrån Pinto som vi har följt nu från TBN Israel. Sedan så kommer det en newsflash och så får vi hälsa er Guds välsignelse i fortsättningen här. Vi hörs under dagen på Telegram och på våra hemsidor. Guds välsignelse. Amen.
Since the Islamist Palestinian Hamas organization carried out a surprise terror attack against Israeli civilians in communities surrounding the Gaza Strip, murdering some 1,400 Israelis and taking more than 240 civilians as hostages into the Gaza Strip, amongst them women, children, toddlers, and the elderly. This is the third day since Israel began pumping water from the Mediterranean Sea into Hamas's underground terror infrastructure in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. This is a game changer in this war against Hamas. Hamas designed its underground terror infrastructure to reach all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. And when the IDF captured the port of Gaza and the rest of the Gaza coastline, it disrupted Hamas's defensive plans. Hamas thought that the IDF will attack from the east, and that's how it designed its underground terror infrastructure. When the IDF carried out its offensive from the north and captured the coastal area, it blocked Hamas's way out. And when it combined forces and completely surrounded Hamas, it forced the terrorists to hide underneath the ground in their underground terror tunnels. Now that the IDF has its water pumps, it can flood out the terrorists, forcing them to come out to the surface and fight the IDF face to face. In these sort of battles, Hamas has no chance at all. As you can see in the map, the IDF is completely surrounding Hamas positions in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. It's only a matter of time since the IDF will completely clear out northern Gaza from Hamas terrorists. But the terrorists are desperate, and that's when they're fighting the hardest and without any remorse and any cares for the civilian population of the Gaza Strip. That's also why Hamas called on the Palestinian people to return to their homes during the ceasefire. The IDF's unmanned aerial vehicles are controlling the skies of Gaza. and any terrorist that pops out of his hiding position is quickly identified and neutralized by the Israeli drones. Hamas terrorists from the Sajaiya and Bet Lahia brigades have joined forces in an attempt to carry out an attack against the IDF troops. After 5 hours of fightings, the IDF was able to identify their center of operations and carried out an airstrike targeting that particular location. The fighting still continues, but I'm sure that the IDF will quickly neutralize the remaining terrorists. 3 kilometers from the Shati neighborhood in the northern part of the Gaza Strip, the IDF uncovered 2 of Hamas's largest weapon stockpiles since the beginning of this operation. In these stockpiles, the IDF revealed medium-range missiles, long-range missiles, anti-tank missiles, explosive devices, machine guns, and other ammunitions. The IDF confiscated all of this weaponry and took it back to Israel in order to understand where did Hamas received this vast amount of ammunition. The IDF is gaining more grounds in the southern part of Gaza, and Hamas terrorists are focusing their defensive efforts in Khan Yunis. Khan Yunis is a symbol for the Hamas movement in the Gaza Strip because 2 of its biggest leaders, the terrorists Yahya Sinwar and Muhammad Def, were born in the neighborhood of Khan Yunis. These terrorists are responsible for the murder of Israeli civilians, women, children in the 7th of October and for dozens of years before that. Hamas will fight to protect their symbol. And the IDF knows that. And according to the IDF spokesperson's unit, the Israeli military is advancing special forces and surrounding the area of Khan Yunis in order to destroy Hamas. In the southern part of the Gaza Strip, IDF forces uncovered a Hamas missile launching site that was used by the terrorists to carry out missile attacks against civilians and IDF troops. In a combined operation between the Israeli Air Force and tank units, the IDF was able to neutralize the site and prevent Hamas from firing additional rockets towards the Israeli civilian population and IDF troops. In his speech, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that the leader of the Hamas terror organization in the Gaza Strip, Yahya Sinwar, is a dead man walking. The IDF spokesperson's unit also hinted that IDF forces are seeking Sinwar and that he's hiding underground. On Israel's northern border, in the battle against the Hezbollah terror organization that is an Iranian proxy that controls Lebanon, Hezbollah launched multiple attacks targeting IDF positions and Israeli locations on the border between Israel and Lebanon. The IDF retaliated by using tanks and artillery fire that targeted the origins of these attacks. The IDF stated that it is researching if the attacks were carried out from Syria as well. An IDF airplane carried out strikes over the skies of Lebanon, neutralizing Hezbollah command positions and other military locations. In Israel's southern front against the Houthis in Yemen, that are also an Iranian proxy, the Houthis launched a missile that targeted the Israeli southern city of Eilat. The Israeli aerial defense systems, Arrow 3, were able to neutralize the missile in the middle of the air before it entered Israel's airspace. No Israelis were harmed in the Houthi attack. And the Houthis carried out a second attack, a drone attack this time. These drones were intercepted by the United States that has aircraft carriers in the area. As you can see, Israel is battling on multiple fronts. We have Hamas in the Gaza Strip, Hezbollah on Israel's north in Syria and Lebanon. We have Palestinian terror elements in Judea and Samaria, and we have the Houthis in Yemen. All of these terror elements are supported by Iran. For some reason, the world refuses to believe that Israel is defending itself. What do you think will happen to the Jewish state if we will not fight? Do you think that Israel will still exist without the IDF defending us? The world needs to understand that we are fighting for our lives, not because we want to. Believe me, I do not want to fight. I want to be home. But we have to defend ourselves. I was encouraged today when I heard a report that the United States started an investigation against the kidnappers of 30 US Israeli citizens that were kidnapped from Israel and were taken as hostages into the Gaza Strip on the 7th of October. We all see what is happening in universities across the United States and in Europe with all these hate crimes against the Jews and against Israel. Finally, the president of Harvard stated clearly that their university will not stand when people are calling for violence and for genocide against others. This is after the US Senate harshly condemned the universities for not taking a stance against these acts. I know that these two acts are not a lot and that they will not change the public opinion of the world towards Israel. But it's a start, and I'm an optimistic. I believe that the truth is stronger than any lie, and I believe that all of us should be united in sharing the truth of what is happening in Israel to the rest of the world. This is a battle between good and evil, and we, as believers in God, should stand by the truth. So please help me by sharing what is happening in Israel with the rest of the world.